There's a lot of masonry.
Which I'd like to tap
Yep.
on a little bit.
A lot of masonry has a massive steer. Well, it did back then.
Should we tangent off into that quickly, or did you want to bring it around? Do you know, tie the loop on what you were?
Well, I never encountered mason. I didn't know what masonry was, to be honest. I'd heard of them.
Yeah.
And they used to call them the Larrys, the Larry Graysons, the Masons, and it would be mentioned, and it was never really until I started working with older coppers, and they'd say, "Oh, he's in my lodge," and I went, "What's that mean?" And then I started knowing about it, and then I ended up on a specialist department. I specialised quite a lot, which was brilliant. Some people never specialise. Some do it once. I did it many times, and I definitely saw it as a way forward. I loved it, going on to specialist departments. But masonry was endemic, absolutely endemic in them. And they all knew each other. They were all connected with each other. There was people would get jobs, and you wouldn't know how.
They'd be fast-tracked.
Always. You know, and they'd be picked for this and picked for that. And they were useless, inept, moronic, lazy, whatever, you know. And it was never really done on merit in the police. I never saw people really promoted on merit. There were those that did, but they had to work hard. I was one of them. I had to work hard for what I got. But I was just very good at policing. I was just naturally good at it.
Yeah.
Some people are naturally good at gymnastics. Some are naturally good boxers. I was good at that, and it caused a lot of jealousy. And then one day I went for a job, and this was the first time I've been silenced. I was tracking down transient paedophiles that were living on canal boats, and it was a cracking number, and a lot of the older lads were all Masons. This was the first time I started seeing it, and a few of them there'd be a ring on one finger there. One used to wear a watch with all like what's the Jewish language? Hebrew.
Yeah.
Hebrew, because it's all to do with Solomon. There's a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
Jewish
Star of David, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was all to do with King Solomon's temple or something like that.
Yeah.
So there'd be a lot of Hebrew inscriptions on his watch, and that was always Masonic. And the handshake would give it away. They'd do a knuckle rub thing where they'd rub their, depending on what level they were. You know.
I mean, how many of the police do you think were
I don't know. I know
they weren't all overtly.
I know that if you take things like the dog unit, probably maybe 78% were.
78%.
Yeah. The male ones, women aren't allowed to. When I was in the vice unit, I'd say a good half of the men were Masons. But I was on this one tracking down paedophiles, and it got so big. You know, it was absolutely massive. I was expected to locate 2 paedophiles in 2 months. I located 90. And it started then moving on to some politicians were mentioned involved with it, and it got shut down. And they said, right, you're off this unit. It's shutting down, but we can have any job you want. I said, well, I want to stay here. I want to carry on doing this. And I said, well, why? They said, well, you know, we haven't got the funding for it. And in the end, I was told it come from high up. Shut him down, back him down, and then I got told by a senior officer at the paedophile unit at Scotland Yard, you trod on toes. You know, you got very good at what you did, and they came for you. So it wasn't that was the first time, but it wasn't going to be the last time.
So that was the first moment that you went, hang on a minute, there's something going on here.